All right, get lit.
What? Yo, everybody, here we are at Great Hair Studios on a cold February afternoon in February.
Yeah, it's February, yeah. Flatbush, Brooklyn.
So, Flatbush, Brooklyn. We're here with Evey Alvarez, and she's come to us from her place in Jersey and her business called KRAFTY Lab, which is an experiential marketing company, from what I understand, right?
So kind of.
All right.
I set that up all wrong, but
terrible intro.
So KRAFTY Lab is actually not my company. KRAFTY Lab is the company I work for.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's hit reset on that then.
My business partner is the CEO, and so then we started another company, which is Social Dynamic. And
okay, got it.
That's the one. Okay, that's the one I want to talk about. Okay. So Social Dynamic is a spin-off. Of KRAFTY Lab, which is an experiential kit company, right?
Yeah, so we did corporate team building.
Okay, cool.
Corporate team building, all right.
Great. So let's focus on social... What's it
Dynamic. Social dynamics, you just said it.
This is great for that marketing we talked about.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Doing
a good job.
Social Dynamic, but we do have to talk about KRAFTY in order to get to social.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about it first.
Because it's point A that
tell me
led
your story.
to point B.
Tell me your story.
Yeah, this would be great. All right.
Let me turn this off.
My story's a little insane, for starters. I was born in Guatemala, and I grew up in Houston, and then moved to Jersey when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And so music was always... Honestly, the biggest part of my life, it has always been my safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was the one place where I knew who I was, knew myself, knew exactly what I wanted to do with it, what I felt, in my heart was supposed to happen. Unfortunately, I was told to go, and follow a real job. And I think a lot of people are told, especially women, especially moms, and especially young women are told, that it's kind of a pipe dream to think you could have some sort of career in that space, in any sort of entertainment space, whether it's music, whether it's acting, film, whatever,
Yeah,
We're
true.
kind of told as soon as we become a mother, first of all, you're no longer cool.
Right.
Which we talk about this. And I, like a dumbass, became a mother when I was 19. Right? Because I had my first son when I was 19.
Wow.
So, I was immediately, I was
then
not cool in high school, and then I was not cool in college either.
Wow.
No, it wasn't cool because I had responsibilities. I could,
Right.
when I was 21, instead of going out to do the drinking thing that everybody does, I was pregnant.
Right.
So
right.
I went out with one of my friends, watched her drink some wine, and I just sat there with my water because I was pregnant.
Wow.
So it
Different
wasn't
experience
cool.
entirely.
Definitely wasn't cool.
Yeah.
But it is what 100% changed the way I look at life.
Sure.
Having those three little magical creatures that I somehow spawned, has really just made me look at everything differently. So I fight to live.
It sounds
for
like
them.
this has inspired you to kick some ass on the
Absolutely.
100%.
projects that you're doing.
I'm trying. COVID was short because I stayed the fuck home.
Right.
But it was around that time I started, because social media has been a huge part. Marketing is a huge part of what I do.
Right.
I had to learn how to market myself, had to learn how to, do social media, had to learn algorithms that I was far too old for. TikTok's my shit now. I hated it when it first came out because I was like, the fuck?
Yeah.
But honestly speaking, I had to figure it out. So I got good at it.
Right.
And I had a local photographer reach out and ask if I could do social media for her. And I was like, I'm not doing anything. Why the hell not?
Right.
Can't go anywhere. Can't go on any of my trips. Can't go to any home shows, trade shows, which at that point, and appearances, mornings,
the
news shows.
HGTV stuff.
That's what I was doing.
Got it.
So I
Okay.
could no longer do that. So I was like, yeah, I'll do your social media. Thank God I did. She became one of my really close friends. Love Carolina. Shout out to her. If you need a photographer, she's it. Amazing. She does documentary, really dark, super cinematic sort of feel photography.
killer.
So I literally followed her around. She was the first human outside of my family that I saw during COVID. Followed her around doing behind the scenes shots and literally just documenting her, for her social media.
Yeah.
That is what led me to this. That's how I tripped, fell down that whole set of stairs, and landed back in music.
Amazing.
Wow.
Doing social media for
Wow.
a photographer because one of her close friends was the co-founder of KRAFTY Lab.
I see. Okay, wonderful.
So they said to her, oh, we have this new company. We've decided to go completely virtual, which is honestly what saved all of our lives.
Yeah.
Because we, didn't know what was going to happen. If you're in events and that's what you do,
Yeah.
what the hell do you do when everything shuts down?
That's a good
There's
question.
literally
Sure.
nothing you can do.
That's what we're wondering.
Right. So for me, it always been music was always live. First of all,
Right.
you know, if I did any gigging or performing, it was live. Number two, you know, teaching was in person. I would go and stand on stages all over home shows and talk about what I was teaching.
Right.
You know,
Wow,
doing
right.
the DIY, the craft thing. I would go to, like, you know, not just home shows, trade shows, conferences. You know, in that DIY space, in person. I was teaching in person
Right.
classes. Right. So I was like, the hell am I going to do? So I get a phone call from the co-founder, which is Boris, who is now my business partner. And he was like, hi, so I hear that you do social media. And I was like, yeah, you know, I do. He's like, also that you may potentially teach DIY. And I was like, that's exactly what I do. He's like, well, we decided to go, you know, virtual. Because when he had first reached out, he was like, I don't know what we're going to do. I'll call you when I figure it out. And I remember looking at this, like, man on Zoom, and I was like, figure what out, homie? Like, the healthcare that I did was public health. So I was like, it's literally going to take 2 to 5 years.
Right.
In my head, I was like, I know the trends. It's going to be 2 to 5 years before we can actually do anything.
Sure.
And he was like, I'll figure it out. He called me back. He was like, I figured it out. We're going to do virtual team building. And I was like, virtual team building through art. Okay. I was like, that's actually a freaking dope idea.
Right.
So we did the first one on Zoom. And because we were the very first company that went completely virtual, but we also had the capacity to ship nationwide because we had our own fulfillment center. We were shipping our DIY kits anyway. Whenever he would do the in-person stuff, you know, he would basically ship the kit to send it to New York, whatever, and then have one of the instructors go in person. We had the capacity to actually do that. So we became kind of one of the first companies to go virtual
That's
and do
awesome.
the corporate team building on Zoom.
That's awesome.
And we were lucky enough that, and this is where we talk about marketing, this is exactly where it was the most important part. Our co-founder, the other co-founder, she's amazing. And 100%, when I tell you this woman knows her content and her SEO, like, she made us go completely organic, like, you know, widespread virtual. Like, everybody knew that we were the virtual team building company. Google, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, they all found us because of her incredible SEO.
Right.
Because she understood AdWords and keywords on Google Analytics better than anybody I have ever met.
That's great.
And we literally have all of these companies to this day organically. It became word of mouth. It became something like, oh, this company's doing this. They ship the kits right to your, you know, to your participants' houses because everybody's working remotely.
Yep.
And then they get on Zoom and teach you how to make a candle, how to do soap.
Let me ask
How
you
to
something, because it was
mixing.
COVID. Was there a sudden desire for team building because teams were falling apart, or like learn how to work together without being in the office together?
One of the most important things that I think happened is that it forced all of corporate America, number one, to realize that remote work is actually a very valid form of work.
True.
But also that team building is absolutely important because
Right.
if you're not in a one major space, you can't go to the water cooler, you can't go to the coffee station,
Right.
and be like, yo, what's good? How was your day?
Totally.
What's your life like?
Totally.
You know, oh, you have a kid? Tell me about your kid.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't do that on
Yep.
Zoom because you get on call, you know, for an hour and then you get off.
Yep.
And then you go back to doing your remote thing that you have to do, all your paper, whatever the hell you're
Right,
doing,
right,
right?
yeah.
And then you maybe get on another Zoom and you're there for an hour and that's it. So
I did more Zoom meetings. I did more meetings during COVID than I would ever, truthfully,
Yeah.
because everything was on Zoom.
Yeah.
So it was like every 30 minutes. Mike was here. We were doing them all the time. It was like every 30 minutes, it'd be like, I'm sorry, I got to go. And it would be like another one. And I realized that my schedule actually got worse because
Yeah.
of Zoom. Or because, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
because,
for real.
Yeah, no, seriously.
There's no
yourself more
excuse now.
available.
There's
Yeah.
no, now it's like, oh, okay, you know, I can do an in-person meeting like we're doing right now, or I can choose to meet somebody in the city or
Yeah.
go on Zoom. But I got more active. I had more meetings and was more psycho during COVID,
Yeah.
I think.
Psycho.
Yeah. Yeah, like just trying to get more done.
Go
and
ham.
like, literally like every 30 minutes a new meeting.
He's
It's
like,
oh
another
my
meeting,
God.
another meeting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. That was kind of like
It extended my
drinking
day.
from the fire
It was
hose,
like
as they
9
say.
a.m. to 8 p.m. every
Yeah.
night. Drinking from the fire hose,
Yeah.
exactly.
blowing your tongue off.
Yeah, my house, here, like wherever
Yeah.
we could do it. It
Yeah.
was nuts.
That was a phenomenal phrase. That
Yeah.
will stick with me.
So you guys
Okay.
captured a wave when
Yeah.
it was really necessary.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it sounds
ultimately that is something that I think I will tell every professional in any business, but especially when it comes to corporate America. You might have an amazing idea. Like, it might be the coolest idea ever. You know,
Right.
entrepreneurs in general I'm speaking to.
Right.
But if there's no need for that idea, you're not going to make any profit. You're not going to necessarily succeed.
True.
You have to fill some sort of need.
Like a product
there
market
has
fit.
to be a niche for that market.
Yeah.
You know, that market research is of utmost importance. Like, I would encourage anybody who is like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. First of all, phenomenal. Let's all encourage each other to do that, because
Absolutely.
corporate America is not for everybody, and following that very specific sort of college to, you know, full-time position, like, lie that we've been told forever is not for everybody, especially for people like us, neurodivergents. And I know you did the corporate thing.
I did the corporate thing, but it was music. So, like, for me,
It was creative.
I was creative the entire
Yeah.
time.
It wasn't
And
like, here's a bunch of
I remember,
spreadsheets
like, my
and-
first week at Columbia.
That's like the bane of my existence.
No, but my first week at this is a good story. My first week at Columbia Records in the 90s. It was 1994. I was 20 years old. A legendary A&R guy named Don DeVito. He only dealt with the Bees: Bruce Springsteen, Billie Holiday, Bob Dylan. I mean, not Billie Holiday was alive.
Billy
but
Joel?
Billy
I was
Joel.
like,
but all the Bees. Like, he handled all the Bees. And he came to me and he gave me my corporate card, and I'm like. He's like, okay, so, you know, this is for, you know, lunches and whatever else you need to do. And I'm like, I wasn't used to going to an office. I ran my own record company with Joel. Prior to that, I was at Urban Outfitters doing music marketing, and I only go there a few days a week. And I asked him, I'm like, am I supposed to be here every day? Like, do I need to be in the office every day? Like, and it was a valid question. He's like, all right, listen, for an A&R person, if you're in the office every day, you're not doing your job. If you're not in the office every day, you're not doing your job. And he just turned around and walked away.
And you're like, what the fuck do I do with that?
No, what it meant was come, touch base, do a few meetings that are necessary, bounce if you need to, because I was used to going to studios. I was used to going to meeting people in rehearsal spaces. Also, I was out until 3 a.m. every night seeing shows, because this was still, you know, pre-research when you could go into a club and go, the drummer's amazing, the singer's incredible, let's sign him. You know, they didn't necessarily have 10 million streams or record sales. They didn't need to have anything. You just thought they were badass. And but I thought that was an amazing answer. Is if you're not in the office every day, you're not doing A&R. If you're in the office every day, you're not doing A&R. So it was about the balance of, like, showing up, showing face, and everyone used to come down. I had an office down a little hallway, so it was kind of like I was sight unseen. You had to, like, make an effort to take 5 steps further to see me, and they would just blow by me. And at the end of the day, or even in the middle of the day, as I was getting ready to leave, depending on what time I got there, I'd be there for a few hours. I had different people, like, come down the hallway, and they're like, "You're my hero." And I'm like, "Why?" Because they're like, "Because you leave whenever the fuck you want." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "But I'm also signing artists, and I'm out every night." You know, the thing with A&R is you don't know where the job starts and stops.
Yeah.
Because I was getting paid to breathe. You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, I love music. I would have done it for free, but don't tell anybody. You know. But the corporate world and the things about music and music and business and art and commerce are words that do not collide well.
Yeah.
So I think also with A&R, just to speak about it, it's also about being like, what do I say? Like the less friction point, like the lubrication between what the corporations need to in order to make money and what the artist needs to achieve artistically. And that's a fine line to walk, and you have to listen to both sides and be a politician on every level and a therapist. And if you're doing the job well, diplomat, and like making sure that somebody's not doing like an 11-minute funk jam, you know, that you have like a 3-minute and 30-second concise single.
There's a disco record.
Yeah, like it doesn't fall off into some chaotic endeavor. But it's very tough. I mean, I'll be honest, juggling the corporate world with music has always been a struggle. Unless you're selling it, marketing it, promoting it, like all of the machine kicks in, and those are the people that need to be in an office every day and like, but for me, it was like, do I need to be here 8 hours a day? I don't think so. And now my life being, you know, self-employed with Earthprogram and with my partner Mike and Joel, and you know, it's pretty much like choose your own adventure. Like today, we were stoked that you could come in and do this podcast with us, and you know, it's just we don't know what every day is going to look like, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, I mean that definitely is something that I can speak to. Like having like I always joke that I have like the one foot in the corporate and then the one foot, because it's a very unique thing. It's a very different thing.
It is.
Yeah, so I did a documentary after all of those cool HGTV shows.
Really?
Because the first show I did, I earned not one penny from.
Oh, that's too bad.
And spoiler alert for everybody watching, we did not win that competition.
I'm so sorry.
I fucking got robbed, and I will die on that hill for the rest of my motherfucking life.
That's fine.
If you watch the episode, you can see why.
We're gonna watch it.
Because me and my one of my best friends, me and my partner on that show, we actually did everything ourselves.
Amazing.
The other team literally had the shop do it.
Oh, that's
and
so
fucked
lame.
it up. They fucked everything up, and then they still somehow won. And I just was like, I remember being
rigged.
so pissed, but at the same time, I was like, well, I can say a scene on HGTV now. It was
Yeah,
one
absolutely,
episode,
absolutely.
but that helped.
What was the documentary about?
So the documentary actually was I love that, and you should look that up.
See, I'm, like, sweeping up the
it's
pieces
my
here, just-
it's my heart. It flew in my heart. It was called The Breathless Choir.
Is this available online as well?
Yes, it is.
The
So bits and
Breathless
parts of
Choir.
it, and I can. You actually can. I have like a little nice long clip of it on my
Okay.
YouTube as well,
Wonderful.
and I'll send you some of that.
Thank
But it is. It literally was about people with a chronic condition that affected their breathing. My condition affects my lungs. I was
Okay.
born with my lungs underdeveloped because I
Okay.
was also born very prematurely in Guatemala. So
Right.
it affected my lungs. So sometimes I need oxygen. So
Okay.
I did the Breathless Choir. It was for Philips Respironics, and we were lucky enough to go to Cannes Film. We actually won a Grand Prix.
Oh wow, amazing.
And I remembered with that documentary what music meant to me. And I remembered that I needed it back in my life. So I started teaching again, started kind of doing music, putting little things out. And right around the time that Google became our client for like KRAFTY Lab and corporate team building, they realized that I was a musician because they Googled me. So I peaked.
Right.
I fucking peaked. Like, where do you go? Googled me. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
They figured out that
You used our own technology to look you up.
Well, and that was a question that I had. I was
We
like,
used our own
do you
technology.
use Google if you work at Google? I guess you use
Alta
Google,
Vista,
right?
100%.
Like, imagine if they were fucking
use Ask
using.
Jeeves.
Ask
Jeeves.
Jeeves. Oh my God, I haven't heard of Ask Jeeves in
Alta Vista.
decades.
Alta Vista. What was it? Was it Alta,
Alta
Vista?
Vista, yeah.
We used the Alta Vista search
That was the
engine.
other search
Netscape.
engine. Netscape.
Yeah.
Netscape.
Yeah. Ask Jeeves. That's hilarious.
Jesus, I haven't heard.
That was the worst one, man. It
Ask
was
Jeeves
so
was
terrible.
wild. Do you
Got a
remember the
little
cheesy
platter.
little dude?
Yeah, it was the guy in a butler outfit.
Yeah, the little dude.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But yeah, so they figured out that I was a musician, so they actually wanted to do music, like as team building. And in my mind, I was like, the fuck am I going to do in 60 or 90 minutes? Because
Right.
you have to keep in mind, this was completely completely virtual still.
Right,
So
right.
for corporate, but I was not in office with people. So I'm like, the hell. How am I going to do this? What am I going to do? Like, what do you want from my life? Like, I don't even know. I remember my boss, my CEO saying, you're a musician? Why didn't you tell me? And I was like, bruh, I teach DIY and arts,
Yeah.
and I do social media and marketing for you. Why? And occasionally manage a partnership.
Yeah. How is
Why
this
the
other stuff gonna
hell
come up?
would
I'm
I
not
be
gonna
like,
tell you,
by the way,
Yeah, let's figure
I'm
out a way to
classically trained. Like, what
Let
the
me
hell
throw
kind
this,
of person would be like, I play instruments,
I'm gonna throw a curveball into this.
Like, what? So and
You can do virtual harp lessons or
No,
So-
they sent kazoos to everybody.
Yeah.
because
That's
Zeus to everybody. So he was like, but Boris being Boris, and he is one of the most incredibly like brilliant entrepreneurs just because his mind works in such wild and weird ways. Like
how
it's
entrepreneurs work.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like he'll say some stuff and I'll be like, huh? And then he like develops the idea. I'm like, wait, So he was like, yeah, like they want to do music with you. And I was like, I don't even know what that looks like. Let me sit on it. So I went to bed. I'm not kidding you. I popped up like in the middle of the fucking night. Cause of course at that point you tell a neurodivergent figure something out that it's
Yeah.
a special interest of
gonna
theirs.
it's gonna have
I sat there the whole
some
night
simmering period.
like literally like rocking myself, like sitting on the edge of bed, like
Yeah.
what the fuck? And I finally laid down, only to like sit back up, and I was like, holy fucking shit, songwriting.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It's team building. What do we all
100%.
do when we're writing a song? We all sit
work
in
in
a
harmony.
fucking studio, right? You have like 10 heads up in that studio
Yeah.
talking about, this is a verse. Oh, do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
instead. Oh, here's
or
a melody.
Goes
Or
and
here's
gets
a...
coffee and wants 20%.
I mean, that
I rolled the blunt.
I rolled the blunt.
I rolled the blunt.
I slept on the couch.
It's hilarious, but with songwriting now, just to talk
Like,
about
I rolled
that.
it with my weed. The fuck are you talking about?
10%, man. I want 10%.
I mean, it's crazy because on like hip hop records now, you have like 20 writers.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I did the drum, I did the hi hat
that
pattern.
verse where I went, ooh, that was my verse.
Yeah.
You won a Grammy for that,
I
didn't
did.
you?
No, but it is true. Like the amount of songwriters on records now are insane.
Yeah. So
You got to bring them in to do their thing.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
So I was like, that's fucking team building. I was like,
Yeah.
bro, we're gonna teach them how to songwrite. We're
So,
gonna
but
write
these are
a
all
team
just, like,
jingle.
corporate
That's
people.
awesome.
Do they some of them play instruments?
So that's the fun part. Like I've learned that we kind of like went through different iterations of KRAFTY Lab songwriting. We call it music gumbo first of all, because
that's cool.
Yeah, because like we're the meat and the potatoes. Yeah, we're putting in the beat. Like I have my amazing producer, which I'm going to shout him out, Ben Thomas, Ben F. Thomas. You have to look him up. He is an amazing engineer, like one of the best engineers in the game. Grammy Award winning, Grammy nominated. Worked with Uzi for about 3-4 years. He was like his main engineer. So he's ridiculous. Also, another cool artist that he's done engineering for is Friday. I'm in love with that artist. He took me to go see him this past October, and I literally was gonna cry. I was so happy. I was like, these are the perks. I was like, oh my god! Like I was so happy.
Yeah.
You know, and he is like the best human. So he's actually now one of our business partners. He's my chief product executive for my company because he understands music tech in a way that most people don't.
Right.
He's only 28, which is crazy. He is obsessed with how AI is going to change the music tech world. So you could talk to him about that for hours. He should be on the show.
We could
have him in here.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he's really cool. Like he has a lot of amazing sponsorships and a lot. He's been on a million podcasts. He's kind of doing really well in that sense.
I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Avocado Mattresses.
Avocado Mattresses.
The original soft top mattress. Thank you. So go on.
If you add some lime, does it make guac? No, that's
pretty cool.
Unfortunate.
He's got some sponsorships for his music technology.
Yeah. So he, you know, he basically took it to the next level. We started it with an amazing gifted producer named Zukon. Zukon has written on like LL Cool J's first album, like stuff like that. Wow. Like he's dope too. But then, you know, he kind of moved on, and then I was like, I need to call some of my friends and find another producer. Yeah. So I called my friend Brandon, who, again, no matter who you are, where you are, no matter what fucking bar you're sitting at, turn around and talk to the person next to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I met this young man when 8 years ago maybe, when he was a young man working retail, but his dream was to start, and you guys know this guy because you know Drew. Yeah. He wanted to start some sort of collaborative of producers and musicians and a network of it, and he also wanted to work in music. Yep. And he is now head of music programs at Dolby Digital.
That's amazing.
Killing it. And one of the co-founders of the DIGILOG. So shout out to DIGILOG. We love Brandon.
A little bit about DIGILOG.
Yeah, so I hope I don't fuck this up, Brandon. I'm so sorry if I fuck up the way I describe your amazing organization. But essentially an organization that brings together music professionals. So everybody from distribution label end to the artists, musicians, songwriters, and even drummers that are, you know, like you said, drumming that one beat on that one song. Right. So you literally can do all the meetups. They have amazing meetups in a whole bunch of different cities. They actually have representatives per location. There's even one in Australia. There's like a person in Australia. I found that out and I was like, holy cow, that's crazy. Yeah. They do a really cool conference every single year. And this past year was phenomenal. I think it was honestly one of the best events I've ever gone to in music. Phenomenal. Cool. They have everybody that you can think of there.
I'll have to check out the next one. I think we missed the last one because I was out of town, but I was eager to check it out, and I know it's popping.
It's amazing.
They have a really good community.
Yeah, they're phenomenal, and that ultimately is what it is. It's a community, and I think that is what is pertinent, and I feel like sometimes missing in our world at this point.
But
you know, the actual connection of meeting people and networking in a physical room,
in a real place, you know, and that's like space. That's how we met. I mean, we were like just standing in a room, and I'm like, hey, who the hell's that? You know,
Jersey.
Yeah, it's like you know, I'm always
Los
saying
Angeles,
like, in LA, by the way,
a week ago.
In LA.
If you're not like there to meet people, what are you there for?
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, also, like conference means to confer. Right. So
word.
If you're gonna go there, don't stand in the corner, bro. You know, like be out front and meet people and show up.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm like. Hey, how do you win? You show up, and then you show up again. You show up
yes.
Again.
Yes.
And eventually people are like, wait, he's part of the furniture. He's always been here.
Yeah, he's always been here. He's the wallpaper.
But even though you just might have emerged out of nowhere, it's just like, that's the advice, right?
Well, it's funny because Brandon always says that I would because I was in music but not in music. Because I was still teaching. I've been a voice teacher for decades. I was teaching. I was doing like the theater group in our school, like for the PTA, would do music instruction for all the little kids doing the theater. So much fun. But he always says that I was music adjacent. Because I was like, I'm not really. And then she's like, no, but you're like adjacent. And I was like, oh, that's the best way to describe it. I'm only ever going to describe it like that from now on. Yeah. And so when they said that we want to do a music, production class, let's do that.
That's awesome.
So I did it. And it became one of the coolest things I think I've ever done. I mean, we show up, we have basically 3 beats that they get to choose, that we poll them ahead of time, what genres they like. Because again, it's team building. The whole point is to learn about each other.
New Jack Swing.
Right? So we literally...
Some guy takes over, he's like, I hate this.
I'm only doing New Jack Swing.
Yo. Can you imagine? No, we've gotten some interesting genre choices. It's been really cool.
Has there been a reggae one or a dance hall?
IBM trap.
Trap. We definitely can do
IBM
trap.
drill.
But you know what's funny? Hip hop is actually the most popular.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
We have almost every single song that we've done has
cool.
been hip hop.
That's
And
amazing.
do you guys have a studio, or is it a portable studio? Or
So-
what do you do?
So my son, who took the studio with him, remember I told you he
Yeah,
took
you
he
cleared
took
your
the
house.
studio
Yeah.
to college. I
I
spent thousands of dollars on equipment.
I'm taking all this stuff with me.
And he was like,
baby.
I was like, there's no way in hell I will go to a fucking college dorm to record any music. So thankfully, Ben, he has a studio in Philly, but also there's other studios that we access and record at.
That's cool.
And then, or sometimes I just wait till my son gets home and I'm like, hey, can you just lay this track for me real quick?
Yeah.
Like,
You're
can
always
you
welcome to
please?
work
You're
here
always
too.
welcome here.
I'm gonna now. Thank you. I will be here all the time
Yeah, no
now.
problem.
But yeah, it definitely was such a cool thing. We made our first song, and I remember making the first song. It was for
all
Google Cloud
Still over Zoom.
over Zoom.
Okay.
Does somebody
How does that
sing on
work?
it, or-
So that's the cool thing is I always ask hey, is anybody here a musician? And you some people are like, I'm like, if you're a
sort of play,
musician,
like, the
raise your
flute.
hand. I don't
Go
care
get your
what
flute.
you do.
Yeah, get your flute.
Does anybody if you hear melodies, I want to hear them. And I'm not. If you don't want to sing in front of people, that's fine. If you are not musically inclined at all, then you chant, and that's okay. So we make it so it's accessible to everybody. I teach basically the art of songwriting in a 60-minute to 90-minute
That's wild.
session, which is crazy.
wild.
But we divide them up. I'm still trying. Let me stop. We divide them up into groups and put them into different rooms. This is again on Zoom, and then I workshop, and so does Ben. We go in and workshop with them. So the whole concept was step into our virtual studio, and of course he's at his studio. Everybody's losing their mind because he's got all this cool equipment.
Right,
right.
And they all fangirl over Ben because it's Ben.
Yeah.
When they're like, "Is that a Grammy behind you?"
Yes,
Yeah, that's
it
a
is.
Grammy
Yes, it
plaque.
is. Yes, it is.
Yes, that's a platinum plaque behind Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
over
whole
here?
thing, so they all fangirl and freak out, which
Yeah.
I think is precious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because Ben is the most amazing human, so
Yeah.
it's cute that people fangirl. I
Yeah,
love
Embarrassed,
it. He does, yeah. He's like, what?
Do you give them
why?
rhyming dictionaries or anything like that? or-
No. So I literally, so what
Hate rhymes with bake.
here's the spoiler alert. And if you're a company that's watching this, you didn't hear this, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. We go into that space knowing what the song is gonna sound like.
Okay.
He pre-produces. With Zukan, I used to actually write the beats with him, but Ben, is so much better at just being like, okay, here's 5 different beats,
Sure.
Homie doesn't even have to actually prepare for it. He'll just go into his computer, and be like, here you go.
Yep.
Right, right, right.
So, with him, I'm not pre-producing the beats. He's pre-producing the beats, but we're listening to it a whole bunch of times before.
Sure.
So he'll be like, these are some of the options for the next, session. And so I hear it. I hear what melodies I'm going to work with. I poll the company and say, what are your corporate buzzwords that you love?
Yep.
Is synergy your thing? Great, cool. Let's work that. What's your mission
Actionable.
statement?
Actionable.
Synergy is. Well, can I just say that I absolutely loathe
Consumer
the word
packaged
synergy.
goods.
Synergy, and I
I think
used it with
synergy
you.
and
Did you use
actionable.
consumer packaged goods, and were you able to
No,
run that? Oh,
kill
okay.
me.
Yeah.
But I hate
CPG.
synergy.
Yeah.
CPG.
With
With our,
Coming all the
with
way
our
from-
CRM.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Our CRM.
ROI.
Synergy.
So anyway,
CPG.
but I hate the word synergy. But I loathe it. It's the stupidest fucking.
Synergistic-ness.
It's the dumbest word in the English dictionary.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot. But yeah, I probably because it's so overused. I think is why I hate it. Simpatico. What? So
Simpatico.
can I say in Spanish, simpatico is a word that we actually use and it's completely different.
Oh, no,
way we use it.
I
It's
would
so
imagine.
funny.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. But yeah, so just Americans doing American things.
It's fine, man. I don't even know. I don't even know.
What? But yeah, so we literally have them choose. We poll them live in the Zoom. They choose the song. They choose the
Yep.
beat. They choose the theme. So for example. There was one of the songs that we're about to listen to is for an amazing civil rights law firm.
Okay.
Cool.
And so they were cool because they to them social justice is everything, which
Yeah.
to me social justice is everything. So that was actually one of the cooler ones that we got to do. And they were like, oh, we want some sort of cool hip hop beat, but it sounds like Southern. So Ben literally wrote the coolest it sounds like an HBCU band
cool.
sort of almost like a ludicrous
Like
beat.
stomp.
You know what I mean? like doing like the heavy horns, you know,
yeah.
super cool.
Get the school band involved.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that
And
sounds
so
killer.
they were amazing. So we got to write a really cool hip hop song with them, and it was honestly one of my favorite ones that we've ever done. The other one that was fun when Victoria's Secret came around, they were like, "We don't want just a song, we want a video," and I was like, "Oh, so we're making music videos now?
Wow.
Cool." I was like,
Why not?
I was like, this is actually crazy because again, like I literally fell down like a couple flights
Yeah,
of stairs and
that's
was like,
amazing.
bam, corporate
Back in the
music.
music.
Like I was
That
doing
is so cool.
team building. Like it made no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And little by little, they started asking us to use it for marketing purposes. So then that's when me and Boris looked at each other and were like,
Wait, this is moving into another
hold on
category.
a minute.
Yeah.
We might have something here. So that's how we stumbled upon social dynamic.
That's awesome.
And social dynamic is called that because it has a social aspect. Ultimately, to me, what's the most important now that I've been in team building for long is connecting people. I think connection, human interaction, it is of utmost importance to survival as a human race. Like being at home for 2.5 years, like it was not the coolest thing. There was a point where like even my kids couldn't be around me because they still had to go into the regular world. Like my son works in a pharmacy. He's a pharmacy tech. So he's seeing patients all day long. He's vaccinating.
Right.
So I literally did not hug my son for a whole year.
Wow,
Like
that sucks.
he would come in to my room with full PPE on. And it was just like, I am a person that craves human connection. As autistic as I am, like, cause you know, I don't always like to be touched.
Right.
Like I don't always want to be like, yo, you know, but at the same time, I crave it. I crave affection. You know, I just
of course.
I just have a hard time saying, hey, can you hold me? Like I have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
So, but I missed because my son gives the best hugs in the entire universe. He's like
sweet.
3 or 4 inches taller than me. And he like folds himself like into me. He's like this tall, thin thing. He just
Sounds
folds him and
amazing.
he's like, Mama, you know.
You gonna come and hug us or what?
Sounds
I
good,
don't
man.
think that man has hugged anybody
Sounds
else
good.
but me in his life. If I'm being honest,
like a
maybe
good
his
hug.
grandmother.
I like a good
That's
hug.
good at it.
Because he's like, but that's the hip hop
That's
dude.
cool.
That's the one that does underground hip hop battles.
cool. Got it.
He can like freestyle for 10 minutes.
Amazing.
Oh, geez.
For no fucking reason whatsoever.
amazing.
It's crazy. I wish I could do that. But yeah, so like I didn't hug my kid for a whole. So like connection, human interaction is extremely important to me.
Right.
So at the heart of what we're doing is we're really building that social interaction and network, and hopefully bringing people together through experiences, because I think music should be experienced.
Yes.
In experiencing it can mean just listening to it or walking into some really cool conference and seeing like a dope boombox that comes to life and you can walk in and be a part of it. Like that's the kind of shit that I see in my very crazy neurodivergent brain.
awesome.
You know, I see colors. I do actually have synesthesia, so when I hear music,
Right.
I literally see colors.
That's awesome.
Bananas. I love
So
it.
I didn't know that's what it was until my son figured out he had it, and then we asked the doctor. He's like, "Yeah, it's called synesthesia." I was like, "Yo, I had that my whole
You got,
life."
you got a
music.
visualizer in your brain already?
Literally. Okay, do you remember? Okay, this is
What?
again. Do you remember Winamp?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Do you remember?
So have the little
Visualizer, yeah.
waveform.
That's what I would
Yeah.
see.
Wow.
Oh, that's
right.
so
That's
cool.
literally like I see shit like that, and I
Wow.
see colors. Like certain songs feel like certain moods, and certain moods are very different colors. So
Yep.
like if it's usually yellow is one of my favorite colors just because it's bright and happy. So like usually when I hear very bright, any sort of like tingy music,
Yeah.
like pingy music. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do.
Like that to me looks yellow.
Right, okay.
I hear you.
So yeah, so
We did the drum. We did the color drums though.
I do a color drum set.
burgundy, burgundy, blue, burgundy, burgundy, blue, 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 black, blue, blue, black, burgundy, burgundy, burgundy,
black.
burgundy.
You know, like- but it's actually brown black.
This is what your world is like on a daily basis, like with these twins that literally.
Blue,
Black.
pink, pink, blue, pink, pink, blue.
Yeah, and then the splash symbol's fuchsia. And then we have a gong.
like-
Orange.
Yeah.
So
That was
how
a
you describe-
magical
describe drums.
experience.
Burgundy, burgundy, blue.
You know how I just said you have to experience music? That was an experience. That was quite the experience
Yeah.
just
Kinda
now. Like, thank
stereo.
you.
Stereo.
for sure.
I thank you for
Getting
that.
hit by energy on both sides.
So the scene. So this.
That was wild.
How long does it? So you have an hour and a half to do this, basically, and how long is the cut that comes out of it?
Up to 2.5 minutes.
Oh wow.
It's a jingle.
Right, yeah.
We're not writing a 4-minute song.
No, I get it.
I'm
but
not
it's like
fucking
you have
writing
to
a
begin,
4-minute song.
it has a beginning and a middle and an end. Does it have a bridge?
Yep. Always has a bridge.
Cool.
Okay.
Always usually has a verse, a bridge, and some sort of hook.
Don't bore us. Start with the chorus.
Yeah, right?
Literally. So, yeah. So,
Hey, Pizza Hut.
well, it's funny because we've had people bust out instruments, and this one guy busted out an electric guitar
Really?
and like was able to play by ear over Zoom, and I was like, This is fucking wild. He
he like
fucking
a
killed
white line,
it.
like,
No, he was great.
recorded over
Yeah,
Zoom as
so
well?
so Ben, and this is where his music tech comes in because I could never. I could
Right.
fucking like.
Plug it into the side.
He
of your
is
computer through the
amazing.
outboard.
He is amazing at drawing fucking audio from Zoom.
Wow.
Like I don't, for the life of me, I don't understand how he does it. But he
Yeah.
literally can pull the individual.
It's like so one-dimensional. Like, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that
No, he is phenomenal.
So you got dudes soloing over Zoom,
Literally.
and somebody cutting a vocal in another room.
Yeah.
And how does it all come together on a mixing
It
board?
comes
somewhere,
together, yeah, on Ben's mixing board. That's
or?
Ben's
Got it.
job.
And then it outputs into some awesome jingle.
So we
the
put it
end
out.
of
So we take some of their vocals and feed them in. But I usually or if we need a rapper, we find one of his rappers because I cannot rap.
I can rap.
No,
Joel
I.
If you want me to
listen,
come and lay down on a
Flatbush
cut,
Doctor.
I can do that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can rap. However, I will not rap. And here's why. And here's the comparison I always make. It's exactly why I don't do cool like rock music. Okay. So I'm a violinist, right?
Okay.
It would be like taking the actual wooden original stringed instrument, not the cool electric
Sure.
version, right? Like taking a wooden stringed instrument and trying to shred some sort of fucking white snake or some crazy ass, right? Like a guitar riff. Like
Yeah.
that's what I sound like
I
when
gotcha.
I try to like rap
proper.
or do. It's like it's very clear that I sang a lot of arias in my life. It's very clear that I sang chamber music when I was in high school. Like,
Wow.
so no rapping for me whatsoever. However, I spawned a really cool rapper, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
That's great.
You can always
Way
get him
cooler
in.
than
Yeah,
I could
was gonna
ever
say,
be.
Get him featured.
Should we listen
He
to
will-
some of this stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
I would
you know?
love for that. It's very nerdy, very corporate, but some of them I always say that have no business going as hard as they do to be a corporate jingle.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Ben is like his shit is always cool.
Yeah.
So way cooler than anything I
It's
could
like
come up with.
Cracker Barrel, and it's like a trance song.
So some of the songs have no business going as hard as they do.
So
like
could these actually be releases? Like, could you
I
put
mean,
them on Spotify
so-
and be like, "Hey, we put your logo out on Spotify"?
I've been told by
Pizza Hut
people
or
like,
whatever
yo,
it
this
is.
sounds like it could be on the radio, and I'm like,
Yeah, it
should be on
God,
the radio.
please no, like never let that happen. I
on
will
the
literally
radio.
melt
It'd be funny
underground
if
somewhere.
It was the advertisement for the company though, and they had the jingle in the
well,
background.
that's kind of the point now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so, but that's a little different.
O'Reilly.
Yeah.
O'Reilly's.
Joel and I like we like medicine commercials like for
Medicine
yeah,
commercial
yeah,
is
for, like,
wild.
Ozempic and like
Ozempic.
It's
and,
Ozempic.
Ozempic.
yeah.
And what was the other one that the one is like
that rhymes A1C with.
yeah,
with,
there's a couple, but it disrupts my skin with itch. Disrupts my skin with
rash. I fucking hate that commercial. Man.
I would never ever write anything like that.
No,
I
but
love
That market, but I find it fascinating, like how you found a niche within a niche within a niche.
literally
Yeah,
what
it's
happened.
wild.
And it's like the story is like so cool to me, like
Thank you.
that you can sustain a career by marketing something that is so generally needed, like team building tools, and then being able to hone in on the stuff that you're actually really skilled at, which is the music stuff.
yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
cool as hell.
And
Thank
it's
you.
being able to reproduce that is probably pretty damn hard.
It's been a wild ride. Like if you had told me back when I was in nursing school that I would be doing corporate team building or find myself back in music, I would have laughed at you.
Right.
Because medicine was it. Like
Right.
as
Well, this is medicine.
Yeah, it is medicine.
But it is. Music is healing,
Yeah.
and that's literally what I was going
I
to
was
say. Like
pre-med and I
it
hate
really
blood.
is. You were pre-med.
Yeah, I hate blood, so I was
That's
like,
so
forget it. I'm like, I'm not
funny.
doing
We
it.
like science, but not blood. Or
Yeah,
trauma.
I was like, wait, I have to cut up dead bodies and like now
You know,
I'm not into that.
I will say that your vibe kind of reads that. It gives off, yeah,
not in the blood. so-
smart, but not
Smart,
not in
not
the
in the
mood.
trauma.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
Honestly, like what I tell everybody is to literally sit down and talk to whomever is next to you.
Right on.
That's
Like
awesome.
that,
That's good-
because
that's great advice.
if I had not sat at that bar in Philly after I was dead tired after that damn home show that I
Yeah.
was, and this young man had to be like, so what did you do? I saw you on the stage. Like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
And I hadn't been like, oh, I would not have found Ben, number one.
Right.
I wouldn't have had Ben as my producer, which saying that, walking into a room and saying Ben Thomas is my producer is wild.
Yep.
People are like when I was in LA, it was the funniest thing. Everybody turned there, Ben Thomas? I was like, yeah, Ben
Nice.
Thomas. He's the coolest thing ever and I love
pretty
him.
rad.
So like, I wouldn't have had that, and honestly speaking, it wouldn't have been a possibility without meeting Brandon.
Yep.
Because 100%, like he's the one that reminded me that music should have been a goal my whole life.
Yeah.
And I should have stuck to that goal.
Yeah.
So sit next to whoever you're at the bar,
that's awesome.
definitely have a
Be
conversation.
cool to everybody is the message.
Literally,
Yeah.
and even if you're neurodivergent and would rather crawl under your weighted blanket with a fun little fantasy fiction book like me. When you walk into a room, talk to people. And guess what? The really cool thing about music, especially music tech, is that you're going to find nerds just like you to geek out with for hours. Like at that place that we went to at Tiffany's house, Mike Gennaro, who was there, he and I literally only talked to each other for like a solid hour about music tech. Like we just geeked out.
Yeah, we talked to Mike Gennaro earlier.
I love Mike.
Yeah, so, like right before
I'm trying to make some music for some video games with him.
That's awesome.
Like the geek in me, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Video games.
You see, like, the network knows each other. I
might actually come record some of those here because he's supposed to be sending me some stuff soon.
I love that.
Shout out, cool. Mike.
Yeah.
Another Jersey, because he's from Jersey originally.
Yeah, he did mention that. Mike Gennaro. Look him up, everybody.
Yeah, he's done cool stuff. Lots of trailer music.
Yeah, lots of trailer music.
Really, really dope partnership that he has, or like position that he has with Netflix, where he's literally creating music for shows and for video games. So that's again, there's so many things, even as a nerd, that you can do in music. Like you don't have to be a pop star. You don't have to be a dope ass hip hop artist. Cool if you can be.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. You literally can pursue music in so many dope ways.
That's a great message.
So.
Cool. Yep.
Thank you for coming to our studio and talking to us today. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.